This is Television Nigerian, a broadcast network committed to serving you the very best in online and offline television programming. Situated in the serene environment of Guzape, Abuja FCT, TVN, as it is fondly called, caters to a wide variety of audience via carefully orchestrated mind-blowing programs in the areas of fashion, business, politics, entertainment, religion, movies, food and health, culture and lifestyle, events around the globe, sports and foreign news. Whatever your inclination, we've got you completely covered with programs like Issues of the Moment, The Patriot, Daybreak Nigeria, Matter Africa, TVN Business Time, Healthy Living, From the Cradle, Stay Inspired, Entertainment Gist, Movie Hour, Hits Paradise, among others. All designed to keep you thoroughly informed, entertained, at the edge of your seat and yearning for more. A tour around our domain will reveal a highly dedicated staff force and a state-of-the-art facility and equipment for high-definition quality broadcast, making our station your #1 choice in advertising your business and propagating your ideas. We are currently on NightComSat doing our test transmission for takeoff in the nearest future. Television Nigerian is located in Nigeria at Television Nigerian House, Guzape Hilltop Mansion, beside Guzape White House, Guzape Abuja FCT, and in the United Kingdom at 45 Ancient House, 48 Aerodrome Road, Beaufort Park, Colindale, London. For inquiries,
232 cases of coronavirus disease in Nigeria, 33 discoveries, 5 deaths. That's the situation, and that's how Nigeria stands in the global pandemic known as COVID-19. It is the 7th day of the lockdown of Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory, Lagos and Ogun states, and of course some other states in Nigeria. Now, how far have we gone? How has it been with you wherever you are watching us right now? Welcome to the Situation Room of Television Nigerian, reaching you live from the Hilltop Studios in Guzape, the Federal Capital Territory. I am Charles Ibe, and with me in the Situation Room today is still Daniel Atai.
Thanks for having me.
And of course, May 11 is in the room.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Now, for Christians all over the world, it was the first time to mark the Palm Sunday without the usual Palm procession and the customary gathering at the Catholic faithfuls at the St. Peter's Basilica in Rome, the headquarters of the Roman Catholic Church worldwide. How did it go? How was your own Palm Sunday in your own locality? How is the total lockdown? Well, we'll be talking about this and a whole lot more after this quick break. Join us again. Situation Room, and quick reminder that you can also join in the conversation. It is very, very interactive. Call us, tell us how you feel, what is going on in your environment, how is the lockdown affecting you and your neighborhood, and we, of course, we're here to share with you. Now, gentlemen, day 7, and most significantly, Palm Sunday, with no procession, with no mass for the Catholics, with no service for the other denominations, and everything on a lockdown. How did it go? How is your assessment?
Well, I think judging from the precautionary measures given to all organizations, ministries, parastatals, departments were asked to shut down or lock down. The church is not an exception, and it is an international phenomenon. So I think the obligation for them to do is what they've done. You can celebrate God from anywhere, and you can mark the memory of Palm Sunday, which was the Sunday Christ the King walked and was declared to the world. So marking it from your home, from your house, on your street, I don't think is a bad idea. What matters is if God sees the heart. The celebration could just be normal to fulfill all righteousness, but the actual celebration is in the heart, and that is what matters.
Yeah, May 11,
Yeah.
a break from tradition.
A break from tradition. Well, I would like to say it goes a long way to tell what is happening, and it shows that everybody is encompassed in what is happening, in the sense that there is no segregation, there is nobody above this particular rule. Now people will see that, okay, this is the Catholics are like one of the highest, when you're counting number of people in a religious gathering or sect, they are one of the highest in number, but they could do this from the Pope down to the local Catholic churches around the world. They all went on this new way of doing it instead of the old traditional way. But it's because at the end of the day, if we all don't take care of our health and we all should pass away to this deadly pandemic, who would do it one day? So I think it was just something of understanding and trying to respect all rules laid down by government, because there's somewhere in the Bible, in the Holy Book, where it is said that you should respect the authorities that have been placed above you on earth. So I think they were just walking in line with what the Holy Book has taught them.
Yeah, and significantly from the Pope's message, he did mention about it's like a dawn of reality to people, that it's actually love and caring for people that matters far above every other thing. And then the COVID-19 has brought it down to reality. And then when the Archbishop of the Abuja Archbishop, I think Kaigama, yeah, when he did address the Catholics, he made mention that this is a time for the poor. This is the time for people to actually look out for the poor in their midst. And he also went ahead to say that he was going to channel funds meant for the big cathedral they're building in Abuja. He's going to channel it to taking care of the poor. And I think that was very, very commendable, because if you're going by the numbers, one can rightly say that the Catholic Church having the largest number of followers.
They have about 1.2 billion members across the world.
And one might rightly say that they have the poorest members in the whole world. So how the Catholic Church rises up to this challenge now is going to be
I would want.
I'm sorry, I'm not just the Catholic Church. All denominations.
I wouldn't want to say that the Catholic Church is the poorest. I think
no, they're not the poorest, but they might have the highest number of the poor.
Because
the population is quite
exactly.
A lot of people go to the church, like you understand, because the situation that will compel them to going to church is to find succor, apart from faith, apart from salvation. Somebody can as well stay at home and get salvation if you follow the teachings of the Bible, and especially the act that say you confess your sins and then declare Jesus Christ as the Lord of your life. However, if we want to know the potency of the Catholic Church, apart from Coca-Cola, I think Roman Catholic Church is the second in terms of wealth, in terms of gross domestic income worldwide. It's only Coca-Cola that is at their front.
So is the wealth traceable to something? Is it like offerings, or is it like institutions?
Yeah, the foundation of the church has been from, let me say, 200 AD, and they built the faith solidly on the true teachings of the church. If you study the church history, nonetheless, if you look at their missionary works in Africa, they're exceptional. They built hospitals, they built missionary schools, They built institutions that, ordinarily would serve the common people.
And through there, they generate wealth.
And through there, they generate wealth. Indirectly, Rome ruled the world through the church, because it's an ideal way of leading the world. You have the political sphere, which is dominated by the United States, and the religious aspect of faith, especially as regards Christians, is ruled technically or indirectly by the Roman Empire. Of course, if you study the history again, you get to know that the Roman Empire were the fourth in the dispensation of calendar of time to have ruled the earth after the Medes and the Persian Gulf Empire collapsed. So if we want to go to the genealogy of how these empirical powers rule the earth, we'll know that before we came to this United U.S. and British rule, Rome was in charge of the world. And Rome, while living, they accepted the norm under Constantine, Emperor Constantine, and then they get to incorporate every faith into the church and ensure that the church goes in evangelism all over the world as missionaries. And then they establish institutions, making it so potent for anybody or any government to break down. So the Pope becomes the president of the world indirectly.
Indirectly.
Yes.
Okay, now we are talking about the world is having a situation, the world is having a crisis at hand, and that's the crisis of survival, because it's not about politics right now. It's not about guns and authority. It's about life.
Exactly.
Breathing, the breath for you to breathe now is a difficult situation for those who have COVID-19. That's why you talk about respirators and whatnot. So how the church now, you said they are the king of the world, how they come to the aid of the world now is what we are looking at. The Pentecostal churches, Muslims, whatever denomination of faith, I mean, it's a trying time. It's that time that they need to rise up to those people that profess their faith, especially the low, the downtrodden, the people on that low cadre of their membership. Because believe it or not, everybody in Nigeria belongs to one faith or the other. If you're not Christian, you're Muslim. Even an atheist, is it not a form of religion? They believe in themselves.
They believe in themselves.
Okay, so now, generally, let's just have a quick overview of how people have been responding, how people have been coping in Nigeria. This is the 7th day, and it appears Nigerians are good at adaptation. People are ready, okay. May, what do you think?
Well, I would say gradually there are people who are keying in, but we still have people who are asking questions. Now, you would only know that people are thinking if they have questions to every scenario they see. Some few days ago, let me say 2 days ago, we witnessed the spraying of the city somewhere around Bega, on the bridge of Bega. It was carried out by the Minister of the FCT, where she came and this happened. Now, most of us who were there, some of us went there as media persons to collect the news. There was a crowd there. The question I kept asking was, is this spraying going to occur all around Abuja? What is this spraying going to affect? Like, what's the effect
what's going to
of this
achieve in the long
spraying?
run? Or in the
because
short run?
we had it in Bega, and after we left there, that was it. So people start asking us this question: what is what is the spray strong enough? That one sprayed in Bega, is it strong enough to go to other areas and any form of contamination or a virus or a bacteria kill it?
Okay.
Because we have seen this in other countries, and now we saw it in Abuja. But the question people are asking is Berger just the last place that it's going to happen, or are we to expect it in different areas as we have been locked down 14 days at home? Does it mean that you're going to pass through my area as well to have this
spray,
this fumigation take place?
So, Spectacle, what do you think?
Yeah, the fumigation, the idea of fumigation, I could call it the rhetoric of fumigation. For now, we believe that I don't know whether the pandemic, the COVID-19, is an airborne disease now. It has not been, categorized scientifically to be airborne disease. However, because of the adaptivity that it could last on metallic surface or any object for more than 12 hours, perhaps the reason why people want to fumigate their nation. But where it occurred in large scale, I know is China, Italy, US, and few other countries, European countries, who are actually doing the fumigation in the real sense.
Okay, they did fumigate in those places.
Yeah, they did fumigation in Wuhan. They did fumigation in nearby cities. And you trust the Chinese. When I looked at the video, I saw the level at which they went. Everybody were in their rooms. They had to quarantine the street, fumigate the houses. And it is not what we are seeing here per se. We don't have that capacity. We don't have also that capability. And even if we have, we may pretend that we are doing it in a guise to make it a conduit pipe as usual. And that is the question I always ask about Nigerian leaders and what actually we are doing towards, quelling this kind of pandemic. If you watch today in the news, we're about going for a loan of about 7 billion, and that is to say we want to use it to fight COVID-19. A lockdown was declared and palliative was not given to the entire citizens. However, it was the entire citizens that were shut down. And we selected poorest of the poor and disabled, vulnerable persons. In advanced countries where this thing came from, if we are to emulate them, I think it is better we emulate them in toto. Whatever they are doing, we do it as regard COVID-19 shutdown or lockdown or fumigation or quarantine. We must not be systematic or technically, different from what they are doing.
Okay, at least the government has started something. They are fumigating the streets of Abuja. Let's hope it doesn't stop at the beggar, which is more like a city center. What about the satellite towns? What about the villages? What about the nooks and crannies of Nigeria, where Nigerians are hiding now from this virus?
You could even fumigate the street, and the carrier is in his house, and will still bring it to the street. So is it not better you treat the virus if you want to treat the virus?
Yeah, but treatment of the virus, you are still not certain.
But at least you could have a test to know who has it. And we saw there's in Edo State, they opened 53 more screening centers, I think in 18 local government, which is a good one, because if they said they were going to carry out 1,500 tests per day, and you have 53 or so in 18 local governments, it means if each of them can touch 1,005 there, unless if they're saying collectively,
divided by 53, divide 1,500 by 53, and then the answer you got is for each center to have performed such tests per day.
Well, every move I think is an improvement. And for Nigeria to have also detected 232 cases, I think is the testing and the whole thing is efficient.
Based on symptomatic appearances.
And then, they are testing to be clinically confirmed that this person has COVID-19.
So actually, Edo has 54.
Yeah,
54 centers actually.
Okay, for the test.
For the test,
yes. All right. But we don't know the number in Edo. I don't think there are more than 2 or 3 cases in Edo State.
No, they aren't. But the government too trying to move fast.
Yes, they are really reactive. Although I know some people will beg to disagree. But let's go to the news desk right now and get an update of what is happening elsewhere, especially about the COVID-19. Now we'll be back to the situation room after that. Please do join us again. Here are some news updates for Monday, the 6th day of April 2020. 8 new cases of coronavirus has been reported in Nigeria as at Sunday, the 5th of April, bringing the total number of recorded confirmed cases to 232. Out of the 8 new cases, 5 were reported in Lagos, 2 in the Federal Capital Territory, and 1 fresh case in Kaduna State, while out of the 232 reported cases, 33 has been discharged, while 5 deaths has been recorded. A breakdown of cases by state still has Lagos in the lead with 120 cases, followed by the FCT with 47 cases. Osun State has 20 cases, Oyo and Edo State has 9 cases each, Bauchi State has 6 cases, Akwa Ibom and Kaduna State has 5 cases each, Ogun State has 4 cases, Enugu and Ekiti State has 2 cases each, while Rivers, Benue and Ondo States bring up the rear with 1 case each. Pope Francis has charged the world to be more spiritually conscious after celebrating the Palm Sunday for the first time in history without participation of people at the St. Peter's Basilica due to the coronavirus pandemic. The Pope in his homily described the pandemic as a tragedy the world has to face in order to realize that everything is vanity and only Jesus Christ remains. He said the COVID-19 pandemic is being experienced across countries in order for everyone to discover that life is measured by love and was of no use if not used to serve others, stating that the pandemic had shown that the real heroes in this time were not famous, rich and successful people, rather they were those who gave themselves in order to serve others. The Nigerian Medical Association has rejected the federal government's proposed invitation of a 13-member Chinese medical team to support the country's fight against coronavirus. The NMA president, Francis Faduile, in a statement on Sunday described the move as a misplaced priority and an embarrassment to the membership of the association and other health workers who are giving their best in the fight against COVID-19 pandemic under deplorable working conditions. The Director General of the National Orientation Agency, Garba Abari, had clarified the reasons behind the proposed visits, stating that the Chinese medical team were only coming to share experiences with the Nigerian Center for Disease Control and not to directly take charge of the fight against COVID-19 pandemic in the country. The clarification, however, did not stop Nigerian doctors from opposing the plan, stating that it goes against the extant laws regulating the practice of medicine in Nigeria as enshrined in the Medical and Dental Council Act, while the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria has also advised the federal government against the plan, restating their confidence in the capabilities of the Nigerian doctors. Governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, has recovered from the COVID-19 infection after the confirmed result of his second test came out negative. Makinde, who was one of the Nigerian governors to test positive to COVID-19, confirmed on Sunday night that his second test came out negative while offering his appreciation to health workers and members of the state's task force team. He also disclosed in his official Twitter handle that he would resume his duties on Monday. Ekiti State Governor Kayode Fayemi on Saturday set up a 47-member panel of eminent citizens of the state into its Response Resource Mobilization Committee as part of efforts to combat the COVID-19 pandemic. Prominent among those appointed into the committee are three past governors of the state, Niyi Adebayo, Segun Oni, and Ayedele Fayose, who were named as patrons of the committee. The founder, Afe Babalola University, Chief Afe Babalola, was named as the grand patron of the committee, which has captains of industry, distinguished private sector players, renowned professionals and prominent members of Ekiti State in the diaspora as members. The committee's mandate, among others, is to mobilize and advise on funds and project management and direct funding campaigns for the COVID-19 response. The founder of Kingsway International Christian Center, Pastor Matthew Ashimolowo, has disagreed with Pastor Chris Oyakilome of the Christ Embassy over claims of a link between the 5G network, coronavirus, and the Antichrist. Oyakilome had in a sermon to his members stated that the 5G was part of the New World Order, where some figures of authority in the world were trying to build a religion, economy, and government for the entire universe, backing his predictions with relevant chapters of the Bible. Ashimolowo, however, countered Oyakilome's statement, explaining that there were no correlation between 5G and the end-time signs, expressing worries that popular pastors and politicians have found a way to link the 5G network with spiritual things and coronavirus epidemic. He warned Christians not to join Christian leaders in promoting conspiracy theories, maintaining that COVID-19 was a pandemic and must be dealt with as such. In a related development, the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Issa Pantami, over the weekend disclosed that no license has been issued for 5th-generation mobile network, popularly known as 5G, in Nigeria. Pantami made the remark in reaction to insinuations that radiation emissions from the 5G network is harmful to human health and was partly responsible for the COVID-19 pandemic globally. The minister disclosed that Nigeria only carried out a study and a review of health and security implications of deploying 5G in Nigeria and reassured the people that President Muhammadu Buhari will not deploy any technology at the expense of health and welfare of Nigerians. And that's the news update at this time on Television Nigeria. Many thanks for watching. I am Charles.
The U.S. has the highest rate of increase in the world, and our numbers.
Health workers diagnosed with the virus represent 14% of all those cases.
And unemployment claims are higher than they have ever been in our history.
If you want to change the world, start off by making your bed. If you make your bed every morning, you will have accomplished the first task of the day. It will give you a small sense of pride, and it will encourage you to do another task, and another, and another. And a made bed gives you encouragement that tomorrow will be better. I've been a Navy SEAL for 36 years. Every morning, my instructors, who at the time were all Vietnam veterans, would show up in my barracks room, and the first thing they'd do was inspect my bed. The corners would be square, the covers would be pulled tight, the pillow centered just under the headboard, and the extra blanket folded neatly at the foot of the rack. It was a simple task, mundane at best, but every morning we were required to make our bed to perfection. It seemed a little ridiculous at the time, particularly in light of the fact that we were aspiring to be real warriors, tough, battle-hardened SEALs. But the wisdom of this simple act has been proven to me many times over. And by the end of the day, that one task completed will have turned into many tasks completed. Making your bed will also reinforce the fact that the little things in life matter. If you can't do the little things right, you'll never be able to do the big things right. Our struggles in this world are similar, and the lessons to overcome those struggles and to move forward, changing ourselves and changing the world around us, will apply equally to all. At times, it will test you to your very core. It will be painful. It will be discouraging. At that darkest moment of the mission is a time when you need to be calm, and your inner strength must be brought to bear. If you want to change the world, you must be your very best in the darkest moments. But changing the world can happen anywhere, and anyone can do it. If I have learned anything in my time traveling the world, it is the power of hope. The power of one person. One person can change the world by giving people hope. Start each day with a task completed. Find someone to help you through life. Respect everyone. Know that life is not fair and that you will fail often. But if you step up when the times are the toughest, lift up the downtrodden, and never, ever give up, if you do these things, the next generation and the generations that follow will live in a world far better than the one we have today. And what started here will indeed have changed the world for the better. But the question is, what will the world look like after you change it?
Thanks for staying tuned. Now, that big question from that, the last video we just saw, what will the world look like after you've changed it? What would Nigeria look like after COVID-19? We are all in quarantine. I would say the question there was, is quarantine driving you crazy? What are you doing about it? Start with one small task a day, one task completed, another completed, Another completed. Instead of complaining that we are all home doing nothing. I mean, we can't just say that you are home doing nothing, because there is something to do. Start with making your bed. Start with picking up that spoon and dropping it where it's supposed to be. Start with removing the cobwebs. Before the end of the day, you've accomplished a whole lot of tasks, all geared to making your life better, and in extension, making the whole world better.
It is even time to also research and find out answers to many questions. You saw the pastors from the news trying to argue, while Oyakilome said the COVID-19 could be related to the end time prophecy, especially about the mark of the beast. You see, Ashimolo said it has no connection whatsoever with technology. And I think this is what the world wants them to do, arguing among themselves.
I don't really think it was set out for them to argue.
Perhaps.
It's just a situation, and the people are reacting to it in their own way.
Yeah.
Perception.
Okay, if you say from the speculations that are coming out in all the media now, if you say a pandemic always have a cause. What is the cause of this pandemic?
Coronavirus.
Coronavirus. How did coronavirus come? Even humans could trace their own origin.
All right.
You understand? So you begin to discover that people might not be far-fetched from the truth when they smell the rat of the world order.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But in the news, we did hear the Nigerian Medical Association. They rejected the federal government's proposal to invite 18-member Chinese medical team to support the country's fight against coronavirus. Now, they said it's unnecessary and it's even unethical. It goes against the extant laws of the medical profession.
Well,
18 members from China, the epicenter of coronavirus. Have they gotten it right in China? As the other countries that more and more deaths are being recorded, America, Italy, Spain, is everything all right for us to go and invite Chinese doctors to come and help us? I mean, the professor, I mean, the NOA chairman, he did, when he was trying to explain the rationale behind the invitation of the Chinese, said they are not coming to take over.
You mean the National Orientation Agency?
Yes. He
please,
did speak. He did say the Chinese are not coming to take over the jobs of the medical doctors, but they are coming to give support to the Center for Disease Control. But the enemy is not having it at all.
Well, I think if you look at the case, well, in their own statement, the way they fixed it, they claimed that they were not given consent. Now, we're at a time where the nation is also in panic for many reasons. One, we are panicking because we do not know how to fully handle the situation. We are panicking because loopholes are showing, although we always knew the loopholes in the nation when it came to government.
Exactly.
But the panic now is because it is glaring that those people that you even looked up to and said they were not corrupt, you're seeing it now. Now, panic has led us to a point where decisions are no more unitedly made. When you say a decision is to be made, you know the people that are involved in that sector. For instance, if I want to do a decision to bring in a school from somewhere, there's where the Ministry of Education is going to come in.
Of course.
But panic is leading us to a point where some decisions are made with some parastatals and ministries and agencies being left out of the decisions that were made. Now they are only briefed, which is not likely characteristics of a democratic nation. People are briefed, and being briefed, many are not happy about it.
And the briefing is not as if they are asking for your consent or for your contribution. They are telling you this is going to happen, so just be in the know.
Now, with the whole way where people are having this speculation and all about China and some of these outside bodies, the Western and the Eastern, the speculation alone, don't think those in the health sector, some do not buy into the stories that are going around.
Of course.
It's a whole, like when he talked about the pastor thing, it's a perception thing and a course of study thing.
Exactly.
Someone runs his investigation and it takes him this direction.
Yes.
Another one runs his investigation and it takes him that direction. But at the end of the day, what you look at is, when you want to solve a situation like this, it is a time where you have to pull out panic, because if you're not settled, sound in the mind, you make a decision mishap. Because you'll be thinking, oh my God, we need to have a way to settle this thing. And next thing you think is, let's call China. And China tells you, we have recorded 1,100 and something deaths. And Africa is gathering the whole deaths in the whole map to give you 23. And you say, let's call China. Why? Because you're not looking into your health sector. How about let's improve on our naturopathic health? Let us look at people who are able to create African traditional medicine.
Yeah. Or even professors who have also discovered the antidote to this, the vaccines per se.
Professor Morrissey, who has been talking since and nobody's listening.
But nobody's paying attention.
The other professor from one center in Enugu, we read it in the news the other day, said he has true health medicine or thereabout. So what do you think?
Let me come in this way. I will go fundamental. However, it is better we depend on what we have. We have the medicine. We have traditional medicine. We also have professors who have researched in this country and in one or two occasions have profile solutions to situations like this. EWU is one of them. Let's not shy away from the fact. And even when you're talking about the United States or Europe, you discover that most doctors there are Nigerians. They share ideas.
Yes.
They share research works. You understand? So I believe that we could deal with the situation ourselves. And the proactive measure or reactive measure per se that the government has embarked on is also a good thing, that we continue in that drive, but not forgetting to help palliatives, especially in the lockdown. But I would like to say like this: the panic you talk about, you talked about just now, that it's like institutions and the government itself seems to be panicking, and therefore they want to invite China to come to Nigeria, since China seems to have gotten out of their own haywire in this COVID-19 situation. The government has nothing whatsoever to panic in a situation of pandemic, because if the government panic and the real thing surface in the long run, because what we are seeing now is just the shadow of thing. Thank God that the president has just assured us that we may not go into any technological drive that will undermine the health of the citizens. And that brings you and I to the question which every one of us are dodging from. Remember last week I told you something, that we need to make research on this COVID-19, and we have to also see the perspective of people who are saying this is a conspiracy theory, whether we should do our media. And in the media, you research, you were taught to know all things, or at least iota of everything, isn't it? In the media. So that is why you are a mass communicator. A mass communicator, you communicate to people, and you have
making sure that in the midst of communicating, you don't spread panic.
Yes, don't spread panic. However, it is not panic per se, but you see, when you know your problem, they said your problem is half solved. When you know your problem, in a situation where you are in a dark, you are treating symptoms, which is okay. You are treating, you are trying to go for the shadow instead of the object. You begin to discover that you can't get it right. So what am I trying to say? You saw some quarters like the Pastor Chris. Let me make reference to his statement.
Let's not go to the Chris statement yet. I know you are itching to shoot.
I am really itching to say something about the technological struggle and the supremacy that is going on in the world.
We'll get to that.
So that we don't pretend around the subject for the object.
The issue right now is government inviting 18 Chinese
It is
doctors.
completely wrong.
Now,
to me,
are they going to be, once they come into the country, are they going to be quarantined for 2 weeks? This is the international best practice. Are you going to keep them somewhere and then, or are they like, okay, because they are China, just whirls into Nigeria and start probably in that way infecting more and more people?
Yes, of course.
As you can see, even in one of the sensitization adverts that was played, it said in United States 40% of those health workers that contacted this in the course of treating,
they got it through the mask.
They got irreversible.
Yes.
So it means that you coming from someone saying, I've been dealing with this thing in my country, does not mean you don't have it. It means you have to also treat, or you have to
and
be
in Italy
quarantined.
too, where 60 medical doctors died
You
as
see,
a result
because
of treating
being
people.
a doctor don't mean you can't have cancer because you're treating cancer.
That's true.
You could have cancer as well. So I think we should follow every due process, because that is where the problem is. When due processes are being broken, when the medical sector in Nigeria feels left out, due process is being broken.
Exactly.
Now, this makes people think more to this, and that is where the other story starts springing out.
Yeah.
Oh, they have an idea, they have a plan. They are going to bring these people here,
Yeah.
and they'll put up a face. People start creating stories, but sometimes people will create a story based on what you throw
And
at
you
them.
can't blame them. Should we blame them? Should we blame the speculations or the anticipated, speculations of what is truly going on?
Yes.
We don't have to blame them. So if we are a sovereign nation, this thing has not, engulfed us like it engulfed China
But we
and
don't,
US.
we don't have to wait till we get
We
to
don't. If we
those
don't.
numbers.
Okay. People that have been discharged from the hospital, quarantined and discharged from the hospital. Did we invite China before we discharged them?
Yeah, that's another.
You understand?
33 cases. I mean,
So discharged.
That-
So it
that-
means we
that is
always don't believe in ourselves. We always don't believe. That is why I said, what story are we ever going to write for the
For
world
ourselves. But
and
then-
for our children?
Then, like what you just raised now, those 33 cases, well, are we told how they were treated? Is it like?
I've thought about that.
Yeah, were they treated and then okay, fine, you don't have it anymore? For instance, the governor of Oyo State.
Even the Italian man that came,
Yeah,
he was the
governor-
first to be discharged.
The governor of Oyo State, that's Sheyi Makinde, had just recovered from COVID-19 after the confirmed test results of. He said he had been tested second time and he came negative. And he was thanking everybody that and he confirmed that he's going to resume work. In fact, I think by now he should be in the office heading the task
even
force.
people that went to the hospital that were, quarantined and tested positive, the 33 cases discharged.
That's what we're
2
saying.
days ago, 11 discharged immediately.
Now, the
so
discharge-
did we invite the Chinese people, medical experts, to come to Nigeria? To bureaucracy again is another factor to look into.
Yeah, but
because
I think
people will use this, politics of COVID-19 to begin
think-
to even steal, to
Yes.
begin to tell the government this is what we will spend. Put your health sector in order. Now they are looking for loopholes on how to siphon money again.
No, I think the whole thing is like it's a dawn of reality on all of us. But I think there are still more investigations to be done. We shouldn't just glib over all of this thing. 33 cases and we are clapping. What? Those 33 cases, you release them and they go. I saw a report somewhere that after a while, some people that were tested negative
Came back
positive again. So what's the lifeline of this virus when it has left your body? Are there some remnants? I mean, there is still a whole lot of questions. What were those people treated on before they were released? We don't know.
Symptoms.
Where were they? Where they were quarantined or wherever they were, isolation centers? Is it a kind of treatment being given to them? We've been hearing about chloroquine. Was it chloroquine that was administered? Was it the herbs? The Oni of Ife mentioned onions, ginger, and stuff.
Garlic.
Was it what was being administered? What is it that made these 33 people hale and hearty all of a sudden? So that everybody should start taking it. So that
Again, that brought us back to this undisclosed medical details that we always don't have access to. I think a law have to be enacted so that sometimes we get information regarding treatment and drug administration to patients and how the curative measures were achieved.
now,
It is important.
does the freedom of information, does it?
No, that
does
act,
it
it does not.
exactly-
It does
No, it
not.
doesn't.
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
I would like to look at it from the angle of suppressants. Some drugs are suppressants, like you are having a strong headache and you take ibuprofen. There is a way it will suppress it at the very time for a period of time. Now, if you look at, let me use psychology, forensic psychology, for instance, when normally they will tell you they want to carry out a forensic investigation on someone and they put you under a lie detector.
Yeah.
Now, most people understand that the best way for you to beat a lie detector is to have your nerves calmed. because it is reading the rate, heart rates, your nerve, how it's working, because your axons at that very period are trying to send messages to your brain to tell your brain that, look, you're supposed to lie about this. Now, if you look at it from that angle, you'll find out that when things like this happen, you're about to be on a lie detector and you think and you say, what can make my nerves calm? You look for a drug that's no more on counter, that is contact. You take contact, it suppresses. Now, put that in the area of when you're treating people for a pandemic of this nature that shows different symptoms. And there is this drug, they now said, oh, since you're showing signs of pneumonia, oh, this drug is 500 milligram and it has a way of subsiding. You take it, subsides. Now you've been able to subside all these symptoms and they tested you within 48 hours. Maybe these drugs are supposed to wear out after 3 days, 72. So you leave, you go back. Where are you going back to? Contaminated environments. That's why you see the neatness is far beyond wash your hand. It's about let's just live clean.
Exactly.
You're living in a very contaminated area. You're living in a house that is maybe housing like 12 to 13 people. Then another aspect I like to look at it from is from the angle of still forensic, whereby they catch a criminal through studying patterns. They catch a serial killer through studying patterns. Somebody suffering from palilalia through patterns. Now, what is the pattern you took to cure this very person? If the person never tested positive again, look at the pattern. What were the things that were involved in that pattern? Maybe you looked at his genotype, you looked at his blood group, you looked at all these things. Okay, then it matched well with this drug. But this drug is not working for some people who are on this other thing.
Exactly.
Because we, in as much as we try to make the whole thing like, where did coronavirus come out from? Coronavirus has been around since 1965. Tyrell and Byron had already carried out this thing in 1965. This other one that shook, I think, somewhere around 2014, 2015, SARS is still family of coronavirus. That's severe acute respiratory syndrome.
They said this one is SARS-2. Coronavirus is SARS-2.
It was growing. It was mutating.
SARS-CoV-2.
So possibly after a time where some people's immune system grew and was able to inhabit SARS. And was passing and they were dying and people took it like natural causes. This thing was growing. Our lifestyle is changing. As it is changing, whatever we come in contact in our body with, it's going to now keep growing to something bigger. Now this on its own can come out as a new theory that someone else will come up with and say, this is where it came from.
And then we'll start.
And I know the question most people ask is, why do it always come from one place? Because you look at the case of 1918, okay, that Spanish flu was actually, you look at the one that happened in 1945, that was during the World War. You keep counting them and you now start wondering why there's a particular place they are coming from.
That's the pattern you talked about.
But from history, there was a pandemic, a big template that came from Egypt. You forgot about that one.
Anyway, we'll get to that. One key thing I did get from all of this, like you mentioned about people that are recovering and then they will not go back to an environment again that is contaminated. It talks about the need for cleanliness. Just beyond
how are we going, except you do it independently.
Yeah, it's about and it's an independent thing.
And I mean, the structure of our canals and what we have in our environment, the way we live, the clumsy style of our living.
An independent thing. There is nothing that stops 20 people that are living in a building from each one of them making their bed. Each one of them know that there's a trash can. If you want to trash, put it in a trash can and cover it. Each one of them, if you want to urinate, use the toilet and you flush it. But because it's everybody and then you just finish and throw it away, you move. Before you know it, and everybody's taking it, it becomes
I feel if our leaders had done the right thing from the onset, knowing the way I see Nigeria, I do not see how we would have had problems with it.
Exactly.
Imagine if we had followed the war against indiscipline from 1982.
By now, I mean...
Imagine if we had stuck to the non-alignment movement.
Exactly.
Imagine if we had followed plans of how buildings should be, houses should be constructed and built.
Town planning.
Planning.
There were so many things we neglected, and you would not blame the common man. You know, they say the ideology of the leader kind of is the way of the people. And the ideology of the leader will somehow affect the what?
Of course, it will contribute to the behavioral attitude
Just like
of the followers.
when was it Babangida or thereabout that introduced structural adjustment program?
Yes, it's Babangida.
People screamed, and before you know it was JT
and Ernest Shenikon was the
we are
chairman.
talking about adjustment again. We are one way or the other. It always goes back to one of those plans that we have said, one of those policies that we are shouting that there are so much anti-people. Now the president is now talking about anti-corruption. They're saying no, it's not working. This is why corruption is fighting back. But if you sit down and look at it, you know that when you have a corrupt-free society, the healthcare will work, the education will work, every sector will work because the corruption is out. But these things keep fighting back. People keep resisting change.
How do we have a corrupt-free country when we do not have stringent penalty against corrupt people?
If you put those penalties, people will still shout that you are being too harsh.
They have to shout. If you must make change, you must be hard to making changes.
War against indiscipline, when it came, people were screaming, people were, and before you know it, that's what gives rise to some of all these very laudable policies. They will just die off because few or three, so civil societies will rise up, people will carry banner and say stuff, and then before you know they will.
But people don't follow.
And in the long run,
people don't
you find
follow.
out that there is still wisdom in whatever. Because I don't think any policy of government, no matter how unpopular it is, if you really study it, there must be something
in it
that
people will benefit the
do
people.
benefit the people.
Yes,
but we always want to throw away the baby with the dirty, how do you say,
with the
dirty bath water.
But you see, if the government, like now in the country we have laws governing everything. If you say there are no laws or there is no law, when you are indicted, you will know that there is law in the country.
So we must wait till we are indicted?
No. What I'm trying to say is that we must at all time enforce what is right, what is legal, what is constitutional. We must not only enforce it by acting in the form of reporting, we must enforce it by our characters and attitudes. War against indiscipline, not that they see you in your room or they see you on your street or every day, but people get to follow that you don't throw can on the street anyhow. Even while you are driving your car, when you get to the bank, you queue normally. So it becomes a norm. So people follow the courage and ideology of leaders. They don't follow the title. If you have a title, a president, a governor, a chairman, a councillor, or anything, or a traditional leader, people don't follow that title. It is what that title shows them to follow. The ideas in that title, the magnitude of the ideas and the courage to driving them is what people follow.
Well, if you're talking about it, it draws my mind to Calabar, Cross River, where we heard they've not recorded any case, but already the state is already making masks. They are producing masks and they are distributing to people. Now that is
there's a policy, no mask, no movement.
Yes.
Readiness. If only we
local
can learn
content.
to be
They are manufacturing it in Abia too, Ebonyi State too. The
governor of Cross River State said the policy is no mask. No mask. Is it mask or be mask?
It's
no mask, no movement. You understand? So it's a policy,
and
it gave money,
and people are adapting and believing it.
Local fashion designers,
things like that very fast. The truth about this whole thing most times has to do with leaders. If you can get 36 state governors who are in love with their nation,
and we will lead.
Has to do with leaders. If you can get 36 state governors who are in love with their nation,
and we will lead.
Has to do with leaders. If you can get 36 state governors who are in love with their nation,
and we will lead.
Has to do with leaders. If you can get 36 state governors who are in love with their nation,
and we will lead.
Has to do with leaders. If you can get 36 state governors who are in love with their nation,
and we will lead.
Has to do with leaders. If you can get 36 state governors who are in love with their nation,
and we will lead.
Has to do with leaders. If you can get 36 state governors who are in love with their nation,
and we will lead.
Has to do with leaders. If you can get 36 state governors who are in love with their nation.
And we will lead.
That's the way we lead us. If you can get 36 state governors who are in love with their nation.
And we will lead.
That's the way we lead us. If you can get 36 state governors who are in love with their nation.
And we will lead.
That's the way we lead us. If you can get 36 state governors who are in love with their nation.
And we will lead.
That's the way we lead us. If you can get 36 state governors who are in love with their nation.
And we will lead.
That's the way we lead us. If you can get 36 state governors who are in love with their nation.
And we will lead.
That's the way we lead us. If you can get 36 state governors who are in love with their nation.
And we will lead.
That's the way we lead us. If you can get 36 state governors who are in love with their nation.
And we will lead.
That's the way we lead us. If you can get 36 state governors who are in love with their nation.
And we will lead.
That's the way we lead us. If you can get 36 state governors who are in love with their nation.
And we will lead.
That's the way we lead us. If you can get 36 state governors who are in love with their nation.
And we will lead.
That's the way we lead us. If you can get 36 state governors who are in love with their nation.
And we will lead.
That's the way we lead us. If you can get 36 state governors who are in love with their nation.
And we will lead.
That's the way we lead us. If you can get 36 state governors who are in love with their nation.
And we will lead.
That's the way we lead us. If you can get 36 state governors who are in love with their nation.
And we will lead.
That's the way we lead us. If you can get 36 state governors who are in love with their nation.
And we will lead.
That's the way we lead us. If you can get 36 state governors who are in love with their nation.
And we will lead.
That's the way we lead us. If you can get 36 state governors who are in love with their nation.
And we will lead.
That's the way we lead us. If you can get 36 state governors who are in love with their nation.
And we will lead.
That's the way we lead us. If you can get 36 state governors who are in love with their nation.
And we will lead.
That's the way we lead us. If you can get 36 state governors who are in love with their nation.
And we will lead.
That's the way we lead us. If you can get 36 state governors who are in love with their nation.
And we will lead.
That's the way we lead us. If you can get 36 state governors who are in love with their nation.
And we will lead.
That's the way we lead us. If you can get 36 state governors who are in love with their nation.
And we will lead.
That's the way we lead us. If you can get 36 state governors who are in love with their nation.
And we will lead.
That's the way we lead us. If you can get 36 state governors who are in love with their nation.
And we will lead.
That's the way we lead us. If you can get 36 state governors who are in love with their nation.
And we will lead.
That's the way we lead us. If you can get 36 state governors who are in love with their nation.
And we will lead.
That's the way we lead us. If you can get 36 state governors who are in love with their nation.
And we will lead.
That's the way we lead us. If you can get 36 state governors who are in love with their nation.
And we will lead.
That's the way we lead us. If you can get 36 state.
A house right in front of. It's not because you don't. I mean, people should not have places to stay.
People are poor. Your house built in your village, the government can as well dictate where and how to build that house for you before you use your money. I get what I'm saying. So land structures are designed by government.